a B48 make over 400 horsepower. Now, a little bit of clickbait, over 400 at the crank. It's more like 370-ish at the wheels, but same thing. So it's very similar to modding a B58. Everything's very similar between the two motors, other than it missing 2 cylinders. Same rods, same pistons, same high pressure pump, still air to water intercooler. So modding them is very similar. So so basically, literally downpipe, charge pipes, high pressure pump, and you don't have to do E60. I did E60 just because it provides a little bit more safety, like if it were to overboost or anything like that. But technically on E50, you'd be maxing out like what the turbo can do and the amount of timing that the car can run. I'm sure there's a little bit more in it if you wanted to go crazy and push the stock turbo to the max. You could probably make 400 at the wheels, but 370 is about the safe-ish limit. Now I have 2 maps. So I have one map that makes 23 psi. That's the one that is making the 370-ish at the wheels, and then I have a map that's about 20 psi. It's 18 psi through most of the rev range until about the top of it. Then it gets to 20. If I had to guess, that's probably around like 340, 330 at the wheels. Now, I do definitely recommend to run a flex fuel setup because it just makes it super easy to fill up. You don't have to guess at all what percentage you have. It doesn't matter if you're running, 57%, 48%. If you need to fill up, if you just need to fill up quick, just to add some 93 because there's no E around, then you can just do that. You don't have to reflash it or anything like that. And boot mode makes a flex fuel sensor for the Gen 1 B48, so it's literally plug and play. It just goes into the front electronics module, and the sensor sits in the right on top of the low pressure fuel pump. So it's all very easy. It's very similar to working on the B58. I don't think MHD supports the cars right now. And then MG Flasher doesn't support flex fuel, so like I don't know what they're doing. Oh, I do have an MST intake as well. That's literally the only reason I got it was for the noise. I don't think it adds any power really, but it sounds sick. I mean, take a listen. I mean, you would think it has a blow-off valve, but no, it's literally just the intake. It's pretty impressive. So definitely worth it. It was only like $300 or something. Now, how's the fuel mileage? If you're driving it nice, you can probably get about 18, 19. If you're beating on it, I just reset the I had to unplug the battery to do something, and it's 15. Like literally, like that's the instant fuel economy pretty much. That's from like 20 miles of driving. So I mean, it's actually it's not bad. And when it's $2.50 a gallon for when it's $2.50 a gallon for E, it just makes it totally worth it. And on 93, it gets probably 21 miles to the gallon. Now, the jump from 93 to E50, it's about It's about 80 horsepower. I'd say the car makes about 290 wheel on 93. I haven't dynoed it on 93. It did get dyno tuned on the E60, and that when it was on the dyno, I put down 360, but I had a couple revisions after it, and it got faster, so that's why I'm saying it's probably around 370 at the wheels. Now I'll put in a clip of an 1/8 mile run. At 87 miles an hour, which is it's pretty decent. It's about a mid 12 in the quarter, which I mean, Gen 1 5.0s and Gen 2 5.0s that near stock ones, that's with a perfect driver, that's what they run. It is faster. I'll put a clip here. It's about this much faster than a Charger Scat Pack. I don't know what was done to it. It was a 392. I don't know what was done to it. Definitely exhaust. I don't know if it was tuned or intake or anything like that, but this is how close. And then this is how close it is to a downpipe tune M240. Now I waited a little bit to make this video, just because I wanted to see how reliable it was, and I've done about 10,000 miles on it now. I'd say about half of it has been on E60 and half of it has been on 93, so I mean, I haven't had any kind of issues as far as like anything related to running it on E85. Nothing like that. I do have an evap issue right now. The car doesn't start too well, but it's running. It's weird because the harder you drive it, it runs totally fine. If you drive it like an NPC, it starts going to limp mode every 2 seconds. Now, how much does all of this cost? Weirdly, for not having to put a lot of parts on it, the most expensive thing is tuning the car. I mean, you have to pay for the license. That was like $500, and then the tuner, they all charge too much. I have an F80 Paul. I have an F80 Paul tune, and it was about $1,000. I think $1,000 with the 2 maps and for flex fuel. So the tuning is the most expensive part, but I mean the downpipe was $250. The high pressure pump was like $600. I'm running the IPOS stage 1. The stage 1 pump. I haven't had any issues with it. There we go. It goes into limp mode. Yeah, literally from an evap issue. I think it's being a little over dramatic, but clean little C7. Ooh, sounds good. This guy. But it's definitely pretty quick. I mean, I'll throw up a 20 roll right here. Now that was on kind of bald tires, so it was spinning in first and second. I literally just put new tires on right now. I think they had one more burnout in them. They look totally fine. Just pull that off. Oh. There we go. Good to go. Now the good thing with these cars, unlike like the EcoBoosts, like Mustangs and the Focuses, and even I think the GTIs, I'm not 100% sure of those, but these don't fall off up top. It makes power the whole way. I think peak power on this is between, I think, 4,800 and 6,300. So it pulls the whole way. But it runs perfectly smooth. Like, it doesn't drive any different than how it drove either stock or on the 93 tune. It's just, there's significantly more power. I mean, when I fill it up with 93, I think the car is broken. Now this is a new issue. It's important to note with these, I mean, even like on B48s, that the engine and transmission, you know, they're good to hold power, they're good to beat on every day, but the motor mounts, the differential mounts, right now on mine, on the drive shaft, there's center support, it's completely, it's shot. I mean, anytime you give it more than like 50% throttle at above like 65 miles an hour, the whole car starts to shake. It doesn't do it when it's like on the highway, so you know it's, once the drive shaft starts to load up, it starts shaking. So the car isn't really made to hold. I mean, this drive shafts and motor mounts, they're an issue on the B58 cars too as well. I mean, they're an issue on like every BMW. So it's just something that, you know, something you have to keep in mind, that when you start almost doubling the horsepower like I did, I mean, you're gonna have issues like that you got to plan for. IPOS makes an upgraded drive shaft, probably gonna get that, and we'll see how that goes. I'll probably get the differential brace as well. They make one for these cars. They also make polyurethane bushings for the diffs. So it's something that you have to keep in mind, that as you start to push, you know, like I said, nearly double the amount of power it makes stock, you have to keep in mind all that's going to start going out, especially if you drive it like a psycho. But no, I do have the XHP Stage 2 trans tune as well, of course. That's just something you have to do with these. And I haven't had any issues with, you know, the transmission slipping or anything like that. I know on the B58s, once you start to get past that like 650 foot-pounds of torque, they start to have transmission issues. I mean, you're nowhere near that amount of torque with this. This setup is probably about 400 wheel torque. This is DynoJet, by the way. Mustang dyno is probably like, I don't know, 330 horsepower and 350 torque. Now I do see that there was someone with a 330 that is full. They have fully 85, and they're running, I think, the same. No, they're running a TU pump, and they ran like a low 12, but it was like gutted and everything. Not gutted, just rear seat delete. On these cars, you really don't need to run fully 85. You're just using more fuel, putting more stress on the high pressure pump and the injectors. But you don't need fully 85, because you're starting to max out at E50, you know, because I think these stock turbos, you can't really run more than like 25 psi. And same thing with, I mean, timing, you know, on these right now, I think that the timing at like E50 is where you start to like max it out. So you don't really need to run full E85. I would say not to run full E85 just because you're putting so much more stress on the high pressure pump and the injectors, so it's not really worth it. Now, like I said, no issues with the motor at all. It's been running totally fine. Never hesitates. Never goes into limp mode when I'm sending it. But like I said, with that EVAP issue, drive normal. It doesn't like to drive normal. It just wants to go. So yeah, overall, I mean, putting these. Here, let's clear it out. Putting these cars on E is the best mod that you can do. I mean, the jump from stock to 93 tune was not as big as the jump from 93 tune to E60. I mean, it's insane. And I mean, this goes for B48s as well. Any BMW, any boosted car really. Going on E85 is just what you need to do. So yeah, I mean, it's like I said, it's really simple build to get over 400 at the crank, 370 at the wheel, and I mean, you have a mid 12-second car. I mean, what more do you need? All in, it probably, I mean, you could probably do it for like $3,500, $4,000. You know, which to double the horsepower, that's a good deal. Alrighty, that's going to conclude this video. So let me summarize it for you real quick. Downpipe tune, E50, E60 if you want to be safe. Charge pipes, intake if you want to hear cool sounds. High pressure pump, transmission tune. That's it, and you're over 400 at the crank. So not a bad deal. I'll make sure to end this video off with a poll. Like and subscribe, because I'm going to try and post some more videos.